Hello everyone, welcome to Delhi UPSC Secrets. Today in this video, we're going to discuss about the chronology of ancient history. Historians divide history into three major wings. Number one is called as prehistory, where people discuss about the artifacts, archaeological evidences. Then we have something called proto-history, where along with the archaeological evidences, we have scripts, both deciphered and undeciphered, and we have history, which is nothing but discussion of various events that took place in that particular period. When it comes to ancient history of India, it starts somewhere around 6000 before Christ to 1000 AD, which is nothing but Anno Domino. Now, when you consider the timeline of ancient history, if you consider zero, the birth of the Christ, from 0 towards 6000 BC, and from 0 to 1000 AD, all the period comes under ancient history part. Okay, now without any further delay, let's go with the chronology of ancient history in BC. Now the story starts around 6000 BC, where the early Neolithic settlements were found in the present day Mehergarh, or you can say the Baluchistan region. This is a period where people actually had development of agriculture, the domestication of animals, etc. But obviously in a more primitive fashion. It means what? From 6000 BCE to, remember when we were talking about before Christ, we will go in a reverse order from 6000 to 5500 BC. From 6000 to 5500 BC, you would see the settlements over there, and from there to 5000 you would see this development of agriculture and also domestication of animals, and Neolithic cultures expanded, which included earlier pottery making as well. Okay, as it is before Christ, we were going in a reverse man. We were moving towards zero, if you understand. Okay, so that marks the beginning of new cultures. Okay, then 4000 to 3000 BC is called as the pre-Harappan period, or you can say the initial Indus Valley settlements period. Remember, between 4000 to 3000 BC, there was emergence of early villages as well in the Indus Valley region. So that's the reason historians call this phase as pre-Harappan phase. Okay, where a smaller settlement started emerging in and around Indus Valley, which is characterized by early urban planning. Now, next to that particular period, that means around 3000 BC to 2700 BC, it was the growth of urban centers in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro region, and this is also a time of Indus seals found at Kish in Mesopotamia. People believe that Indus people used to have trade relations with Mesopotamians. So it was, you can say, they were moving towards a mature, stage of Harappan culture. Okay, then in 2500, it is the earliest period of Indus Valley civilization. Remember, Indus Valley is the first civilization. Why do we call it as civilization? There is a huge lot of difference. There is a difference between a culture and civilization, because culture is nothing but the way of life, whereas civilization is the highest degree of culture, you can say. The matured stage of culture is nothing but civilization. You can say it is the peak of urbanization, trade, craft, specialization, and all. So it means the period between 2500 BC to 1750 BC is the highest stage or the mature stage of Harappan civilization. The civilization with great cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Kalibhangan, Lothal, Dholavira, and many more. So all these areas flourished like anything. But later, after that particular period, you would see the decline of Harappan culture. It means what? We have started with something called lithic, the stone age, because stone age we have Neolithic culture, which is end stage of the Stone Age, And next to that, you have to talk about the Harappan culture. See, understanding chronology helps us to draw a proper picture of ancient history, and that was what the major intent of this particular lecture as well. Okay, moving forward, we have 1750 to 1500 BC, where the Indus civilization starts declining. People talk about various reasons. People talk about Aryan immigration, and a few historians, archaeologists also believe that climate is also one particular reason for the decline of the civilization. Few believe that there is a shift in the river system. So we don't even today know that what is the major cause of decline of Harappan culture. But after 2000, after 1700 to 1500 BC, we actually have not found any proper evidence of Harappan culture. Okay, and this marks the beginning of Aryan immigration from Central Asia. Then from 1500 to 1000 BC is called as the Vedic period, because after the decline of Harappan culture, there was an immigration of Indo-Aryans into the subcontinent. Remember, Aryan is not a term which is associated with a community, it was a language, it is a linguistic identity, you must say. Because of the migration of Indo-Aryans, the Vedic period have started, and the earliest Veda of times, which is Rig Veda, was actually composed in this particular period itself. And 1000 BC is called as the most important period. We call it the Iron Age. It means nothing but the use of iron was seen in that particular period, because the transition from early Vedic age to later Vedic age is something which is marked by this Iron Age. And the spread of Indo-Aryan culture in the Gangetic plain also took place in this particular period. And moving forward, from 1000 BC to 600 BC, there were huge lot of changes that were happening. The transition of early Vedic to later Vedic, spread of Indo-Aryan culture, development of iron tools, emergence of painted graveware, formation of early Vedic tribes and kingdoms in the northern India. All these were formed. All these were happening. Okay, and development of socio-political structures described in the later Vedic texts, and rise of Janapadas. This is one important thing that you need to understand here. The Janapadas are nothing but smaller kingdoms in the northern India. Okay, then all the smaller kingdoms form together and they actually lead to Mahajanapadas. Okay, these are the earliest kingdoms that we have ever knew. Then early Upanishads were composed. Growth of philosophical thought was seen in this particular period. So there was a change in social structures, political structures, and also the administrative structures. And between 800, it means you can say around 817 BC, the traditional date of birth of Parshvanatha, who was one of the important Tirthankaras of Jainism, was something which is, marked, traditional date of birth of him has happened in that particular period. So this is something which you need to remember. Moving forward, next to that, in 600 BC, it was the beginning of second urbanization of India. Why? The first urbanization is nothing but your Indus Valley civilization. But in 600 BC, because of the formation of Janapadas and then rise of Mahajanapadas, we have 16 Mahajanapadas that were flourishing in that particular period, out of which Magadha is the most important one. And earlier Upanishads were composed, rise of urban centers, trade routes, use of coins also have begun around 600 BC. Then next to that, you would see rise of Buddhism and Jainism, because Gautam Buddha and Gautama Buddha ji and Mahavira ji both were contemporaries, but there was no historical evidence that they have met each other. But rise of Buddhism and rise of Jainism, the period of Buddha and Mahavira and their preach new religious ideologies were emerging in that particular period. Parallelly, in the world as well, there was a change. There was a rise of various other smaller religions, Zoroastrianism, you consider, and many more cultures. And in India, it was the period of Buddha and Mahavira. Remember, the questions regarding Buddha and Mahavira are most prominent in your prelims examination. So this was a period where Zoroastrianism and Persian invasion in northwestern subcontinent, all these were happening in this period itself, between 1550 BC to around 500 BC. Then 542 to 413 BC is the beginning of Haryankas of Magadha. Magadha becomes a dominant kingdom in that particular period. Then compilation of Buddhist texts has happened, and you would see the rise of Haryanka dynasty. If you consider ancient Indian history, Haryankas, Shishunagas, Nandas, and Mauryas are the most crucial kingdoms that you need to remember in a proper order. So 542 to 413 is a period of Haryankas of Magadha. Then in 518, the Gandhara and Sindh satrapies of Persian Empire and Behustan inscription of Dharos is something which belongs to that particular period. So next to that, we have Sishunaga dynasty between 413 to 364 BC. So next to Sishunagas, we have Nanda dynasty, the rise of Nandas in Magadha Empire, Magadha region. And next to that, in the same period during the reign of Nanda dynasty itself, the Alexander have a great the warrior, you must say, Alexander have invaded India. Okay, in that particular period, Dhananand being what do you say? Dhananand is the king of that particular region, and he was actually instructed by Chanakya ji that Chanakya ji ki the Alexander's invasion is happening, and Nanda dynasty must be very much aware of that. And Dhananand actually humiliates Chanakya, which leads to Chanakya, taking revenge against Nanda dynasty. He actually trains Chandragupta Maurya, and later the Nanda dynasty declines, and that marks the beginning of Maurya dynasty as well. And in 326 BC, the Battle of Hydaspes happens at Jhelum region. The defeat of Porus happens, and from 312 to 184 BC, it is the establishment of Mauryan Empire by Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, influence of due to the influence of Alexander's invasion and all. And from 350 and from 350 BC to 300 BC, you can see the expansion of Mauryan Empire under Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, we have huge lot of great leaders in Mauryan Empire. Moving forward from 305 to 303, it is Chandragupta Maurya's war with Seleucus Nicator. And 272 to 268, it was the Ashokan War of Succession, because Ashoka is also one of the great rulers of Mauryan Empire who promoted Buddhism next to Kalinga War. And in the Ashoka's period, there were huge lot of changes that were happening. He have constructed many edicts. He have spread Buddhism in Sri Lanka and Central Asia. Okay, and after Kalinga's conquest itself, the changes that were taken place between 260 to 257 BC. Then next to that, Ashoka converts himself into Buddhism with the help of Upagupta. Okay, then next to Ashoka, there were no proper great rulers of Mauryan Empire, and you would see a gradual decline of Mauryan Empire. And between that, 250 BC to 200 BC is the period where third Buddhist council happens in Pataliputra. Buddhist missions in South Asia will begin, and also in the world. Then in 232 to 184 BC, this is a period of later Mauryas. They were not that powerful kings, I must say. It means after 200 BC, or you can say after 150 BC, it was the decline of Mauryan Empire. Then 184 to 75 BC, it means from 150 to 100 BC, you would see the Sunga and Kanva rulers kept getting emerged. The rise of Sunga dynasty. Okay, Pushyamitra was the founder of Sunga dynasty, and Devabhumi is the last Sunga ruler. It means next to Mauryas, we have Sunga dynasty, Sunga and Kanva rule, which emerged in that particular period. And parallelly in the Deccan region, that is in the southern India, we have Satavahanas in the Deccan. Okay, and Indo-Greek influence was there in the northwestern India. Coinage, art, everything started emerging in that particular period. And 182 BC marks the foundation of Indo-Greek Empire in the northwestern region by Demetrius. And 166 to 150 BC is the period of Menander. Moving forward, 141 BC is the Shaka's conquest of Bactria, and 94 BC is the Shaka kings in the northwestern India. So you have Shungas and then Saka kings. Okay, the rise of Indo Scythians also happened. Okay, so later you have Kushans and all. So coming to 75 to 28 BC, we have Kanva dynasty. As I told you, Shungas, Kanvas, Shakas, and also you have in the northwestern part Indo-Greeks. Then in 58 BC, the beginning of Vikrama Samvat era or Vikramaditya of Ujjain, okay, the second Saka ruler in the northwestern India. Then 50 BC is a period where the emergence of Shatavahanas, as I told you, in the northern India we see Shakas and Sunga, Kanva, all these people, and in the southern India it was the rise of Shatavahanas. King Kharavela of Kalinga, Hathigampa inscription, all these were happening in this particular period itself. Okay, that is 50 BC. Then 50 BC to 50 AD, we actually consider it as early Kushan period. Okay, so moving forward, in 20 to 46 AD, we have Gondophares, the great Indo-Parthian king in Takshashila, and next to that at 45 AD, we have invasion of northwestern India by Cadaphyses or establishment of Kushan Empire has happened. 46 AD is discovery of monsoon by Greek sailor. Chinese emperor Mingti sends an agent for India in 64 AD. So we are moving forward from BC, the before Christ era, to Anno Domino is something which you need to consider. And between this particular period, there were huge lot of changes that were happening both in northern and southern India. And you would see the Buddhism being, Buddhism have spreaded all over within the world, okay, including India. Then next to that, the arrival of Indian Buddhist monks, Kashyapa, Matanga, and Gobharana in China region happens in 66 AD. Then next to that, 77 AD is a period where you see the Pliny wrote natural history, and in this particular period you would see the heights of Kushana Empire, the reign of Kanishka as well. Okay, then Saka era begins under Kanishka. The reign of Kanishka, Kushana Empire starts in that particular period, 78 AD to 110 AD. 80 to 128 AD is a period where in the Deccan, Gautami Putra Shatakarni and Vashishta Putra Pulamavi rules over there. Vashishta Putra Pulamavi is nothing but the child, the son of Gautami Putra Shatakarni. So Shatavahana rule was seeing its heights in the Deccan, whereas Kushans continued to show their prosperity in the northern region. The development of Gandhara art happens in this particular period. 130 AD to 150 AD is the rule of Rudraman I of Shatavahanas, and 226 AD is the Sasanian dynasty established in Persia. Then Satavahana kingdom ended around 250 AD. The decline of Kushanas also happens, and now it marks the beginning of rise of Gupta dynasty in the northern India, okay, with Chandragupta. People, 320 to 335 AD is a period where The early Gupta rule, culture, scientific advancements, everything was happening in this particular period. Gupta's empire expanded like anything, and revival of Hinduism and Sanskrit literature happens in this particular period. And that's what is the reason, because of cultural, scientific, economic, political, various, various advancements marks in the Gupta period itself, and that's the reason we call Gupta Empire is nothing but the golden age. The Mahakavi Kalidasa's scriptures, everything, the literary works of Kalidasa happens in the Gupta period itself. 335 to 375 AD is the reign of Samudragupta, who is also called as Indian Napoleon. Then in 360 AD is the period where Sri Lankan embassy, embassy to Samudragupta's court happens. Then next to that, in 375 to 413 AD is the reign of Chandragupta II, and it was a peak of Sanskrit literature. Reign of Chandragupta II, the arts and all flourished like anything. Okay, the arts, science, everything flourished. And at the same period, Fabhin or Fahan visits India during Chandragupta II. And 413 to 455 AD is the reign of Kumar Gupta I. And in that particular period, our great university, Nalanda University, is flourishing. Then 455 to 467 AD is Skandagupta's rule, and there you observe first Huna's attack. And next to that, it means around 500 AD, say later period, you would see the decline of Gupta Empire. Okay, then after that, the post-Gupta rule, you can say, regional kingdoms started raising, and there you also see the rise of Harsha's empire as well. Moving forward, 500 to 527, as I told you, it was Huna's invasion into the region has happened, and 527 is Mihirkula defeated by Yashodharman, and early Chalukyas of Badami starts showing their influence between 543 to 755 AD. And in the same period, parallelly in southern India, you'd see Pallavas of Kanchipuram. Then in the northern India, because of the post-Gupta regional kingdoms, the rise of Harsha's empire is seen. Rise of eastern early Chalukyas, Pallava kingdoms, and also Harshavardhana happens in this particular periods. Then next to that, we have the Muslim era. Then 625 AD, we have Pulkesin II of Chalukya sending embassy to Persian king Khusro, and Harshavardhana and Pulkesin have a conflict, have a war near Narmada river. 630 to 643 AD is a period where Huan Sang visits India. Okay, later he visits Pallavas as well. 630 to 1070 AD is a period where Eastern Chalukyas, or we call them Vengi kingdom in Andhra, Odisha and other regions. Okay, so this is something which is happening within the ancient history. Then 634 is a period where I-Holy inscription of Pulikesin II. 642 AD is a conquest of Badhamis by Narasimhavarma I. The Pallava king of Kanchi. Then 643 AD, Harsha's assembly at Prayag. Then Bhaskar Varma helped Van Hyun in restoring Harsha's throne to Kanauj. Happens in 648 AD. 675 to 685, you see Singh at Nalanda University. So there were huge lot of changes happening. 700 to 728, rule of Narasimhavarman II of Pallava. Okay, then 712, the Arab conquest of Sindh happens. 743 to 789 AD, the Santa Rakshita and Padma Sambhava of Tibet monks visits. Okay, then this is all the so-called aspects are related to ancient history part. Basically, next to that particular thing, we can also discuss about the Cholan Empire, which is the later Cholas. When it comes to Cholas, we have early Cholas who belongs to Sangam age Cholas we call, and then we have later Cholas or the imperial Cholas who belongs to the what do you say called the end stage of ancient history. We have huge lot of content about that in the medieval history part. So thanks a lot for attending the session, everyone. Here is the Delhi UPSC secret session on chronology of ancient history. To talk with our experts, we have Vishal sir, who have cleared 6 prelims, 6 mains, and 6 interviews. His AR 91 selected for IAS, IPS, and IRS as well. For more videos from Delhi UPSC Secrets, you can subscribe. You can get the Delhi UPSC Secrets app from Google Play Store and App Store. And you can also subscribe to our channel by clicking the bell icon. You'll get all the notifications with respect to the new upcoming videos. Delhi UPSC Secrets is coming up with huge lot of cost-friendly courses which help aspirants from longer days. Thanks a lot for attending the session, everyone.